Hey, hi, Lauren. How are you?
Hi, Dan. Good.
Good. I'm here with Lauren Connelly Perrin, and we've never had Lauren on CalmUnity before. And what's great is she's actually your our kind of internal slash external engineer. And Lauren does just about everything that is needed to do to keep CalmUnity rolling along. But I wanted to talk to Lauren today about something that we've talked about for almost years now, and that is her interest and attraction to indie music, and in particular, Jimmy Eats World. So, Lauren, how did you become attracted to the indie genre, and what so attracted you to Jimmy Eat World?
It's a good question. I would say my my finding of Jimmy Eat World actually I feel like was an accident.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
When I was in eighth grade, my mom had bought their CD Bleed American, and she actually bought it for my brother, and he didn't really like it, and so she passed it along to me, and I listened to it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
I think that just introduced me to like indie. It introduced me to like alternative, like emo, kind of that music scene.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, from then I think I just kept listening and just kept exploring like different bands and finding more music.
So how many, just offhand, how many indie bands do you think exist today? Is it just a national thing in America or is this all over the world? Is there global indie music?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely it's all over the world. I wouldn't really know how many. I mean, I think there's so many different genres of like indie and like because there could be like indie pop, there's indie rock, there's you know multiple genres that classify as indie now or can fall into that genre. And I couldn't even think of a number right
Yeah,
now
no,
to
there's
give
so
you.
many.
There's so
There's
many.
got, well, that's great. That's great. So when did kind of this movement, the indie genre, begin? I mean, is this something that's been going, like we've had bands come through like Cake,
Mm-hmm.
and is that an indie band?
Yeah, or like alternative rock. I would say they fall into that. Um, I would honestly, I mean, not a music historian, but I would guess like it
Yeah.
kind of spun from like early '90s, like grunge and stuff
Okay.
like that. But it probably even goes further back than
Wow.
I know. Um, just thinking of like, obviously like Nirvana is a huge
Yes.
deal in alternative
Yes.
rock or rock
Yes.
music. Um, but then you think back to like, um, I'm blanking on the name right now.
It's okay. We can come back to it if it's like an influential band.
Yeah.
Um, I'm always wondering if there are deeper messages in things,
Mhm.
things that I'm not seeing, and like other types of meanings, alternative meanings in indie music that many people, I don't know if they actually realize it, or are there hidden
Mhm.
messages? I mean, is it something for youth to be like attuned to?
Yeah, I would I would say so. I mean, obviously, all music has emotion and feeling behind it. But I think with indie music or like alternative rock music, I think what makes it unique is like how their melodies are written and how their lyrics pair with that. Like for Jimmy Eat World in particular, I think one of like their most like iconic albums. If like you ask other alternative indie music
Right.
lovers, they're probably going to say their album Clarity, just because of how I don't know how to really put it, but it kind of like each song like paints a different picture of like feeling and emotion
Oh,
to
wow.
it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're all so unique, and all the lyrics throughout that album are very like I feel like they're very heartfelt and deep and there is a lot of emotion behind them. But just listening to the whole thing in its entirety is like it's an experience.
Right,
And I feel like that's why
exactly.
it's one of their most like iconic albums.
Hmm.
But even their later stuff, I feel like it also paints that same like picture and tells that story just through like the rhythm of like how they're writing the music, but then also the lyrics that are like pairing with it.
Right.
So
Uh-huh. And who are the stars of Jimmy Eat World? There are how many in that
um,
band?
there's four members, and yeah, it's Jim, Zach, Tom, and Rick.
Okay. And do they also compose their numbers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think it's through their experiences that they've been able to like compose like deeper messages because they've actually experienced those things?
Definitely. Yeah. I know Jim talks about that a lot when writing his music. And just like uh I think he's like probably the primary songwriter of the band,
Uh-huh.
but I know other band members also like play a part in the lyric composition and stuff. But um, yeah, Jim definitely talks about like his experiences through his life and
Right.
all
And what instruments are played?
that. Jim plays guitar. Tom also plays guitar, more rhythm. Rick plays bass, and Zach plays drums.
Wow.
And then they also have, I would say, like an unofficial official member, which is Robin,
Uh,
and he'll play keys or like other backup like instruments, like tambourine or
sure,
something.
sure. That's good. Do they have any records, albums out? Now you don't call them albums, but yeah.
Yeah, they I actually don't know off the top of my head right now how many,
No,
but
but do you have them?
oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that like this particular band, I think may have kind of changed your life in some ways because you've met a lot of people through them
Yes.
and have groups of people that you spend time with and fly around America and catch
Mhm.
this band wherever they are. How do you connect with people that are all Jimmy Eat World fans?
Yeah, I think it all started on Facebook, honestly. When like Facebook groups kind of started to become more popular on the
Yeah.
platform. Um, you get like group suggestions and whatnot, and the uh, Jimmy Eat World fans popped up for me, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I
Mhm.
obviously still listen to them a lot, and then I joined, and then from there, kind of like a smaller group. Um, First, it was just a group of girls that just formed, and we all started just talking,
Yeah.
and that's how I met um, a lot of like my first few friends through that group.
Yeah. So I would think that like you could say that Jimmy Eat World brings a lot of people together.
Yeah, they do.
And when they play at concert, like where do you go for the concerts?
Um, in like in California and Sacramento area, if they come through, they've usually played like Ace of Spades.
Oh yeah.
They've also played Golden One with like bigger, like for a bigger venue with like
Mm-hmm.
Fall Out Boy for like a larger tour. Um, I've seen them in San Francisco a couple times at like the Masonic. Um, and then everywhere else, there's just multiple like small concert venues.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And they're from what city originally?
They're from Arizona,
Tucson or is it Tucson or
Tempe.
Tempe? Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they've been like developing for at least almost 25 to 30 years.
Just 30 years, yeah.
God.
They had 30
Yeah.
years last year as a band,
Yeah.
or well, yeah, so
No, this,
93.
you know, we have been doing some interviews on various things, and I'm looking for a group that, and I'm looking for a group that we can interview about rap music.
Mm.
Do people who like indie music also gravitate to rap music, or is it something so different? What makes an indie listener?
That's also a good question. I feel like this depends on that person's listening taste, but
Yeah,
I feel like there's probably people that are interested in both.
yeah,
Again, both are very have like a lot of emotions and paint a picture with their songs and stuff. So I wouldn't say there's like a specific group of indie users, but I guess in terms of it, like they're on social media, like we call ourselves elder emos because
well, the elder emos,
they're like emo groups that are like older. So like Jimmy falls in that category. A couple other bands like Dashboard Confessional and like Hawthorne Heights. Those are all like more emo bands.
right,
So
right,
they're kind of making a resurgence right now, like in the last couple of years, and doing like either reunion tours or
yeah,
anniversary tours of their
yeah,
albums. And um, I think that's maybe where you find like a lot of the indie alternative like listeners and stuff.
yeah. Well, it's pretty good that you're not doing tribute um, band appearances yet for Jimmy Eat World because that means they're right there,
Yeah.
live and appearing. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about why you have gravitated to this form of music? And I mean, with your peer group, are a lot of people indie fans, or are you kind of there as like one of your alternative um, friends?
No, I would say definitely with the Jimmy group, like we all have very similar listening tastes. And we've all like found connection through other bands as well. Um, yeah, and out of like outside of the Jimmy group, I'm probably I probably listen to alternative and emo indie music like the most out of my other friends. But there's so many people out there that just listen to like indie alternative, and like I feel like I meet fans at
Right.
like every show I go to, or if it's not a Jimmy show, like if we're going to like another kind of indie alternative music concert, like I feel like we're always meeting new
Hmm.
people, and it's just
Hmm.
like something about it brings it together. And it's really nice.
Yeah. I've listened to you tell me about your trips and following the group, and it sounds like you have a good time, and it's like really it fulfills you
Yeah.
musically, and that's wonderful. Hey, I want to thank you, Lauren, for being with us today on observations and perspectives. And it's so nice to have you right here, and we'll be listening to this. And I'm going to be sending this out to a couple of people who say, "What's Jimmy Eat World all about?" And now I can tell them. So thank you for being with us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having
Uh-huh.
me.